Have you ever dreamed of attending a royal ball at Versailles, or walking through the golden corridors of the Winter Palace in the 18th century? Movies show us rustling silk dresses, shining gold, and gallant gentlemen. But movies cannot convey the smell. If you were transported to 18th century Versailles, you would vomit in 5 seconds. Do you know why? Because in the most luxurious palace in Europe, home to thousands of nobles, there was not a single toilet. The Sun King, Louis XIV, who built complexes costing the entire annual budget of France, relieved himself in the corridor. Princesses squatted behind heavy curtains. Historical records from the Louvre state that on the wide staircases and behind the doors there was an unbearable stench of excrement. We are told, well, it was the Middle Ages, people were dirty savages. Stop. Look at these buildings. Look at St. Isaac's Cathedral. Look at the Hermitage. Look at Versailles. These are the pinnacles of engineering, perfect geometry, granite columns weighing hundreds of tons, polished in a way we cannot replicate today, complex acoustics, and you want to tell me that a civilization capable of lifting a 600-ton monolith forgot to dig a sewer? That architects who designed complex domes forgot to make a hole in the floor for waste? This is not just strange, it is impossible. It's like if Elon Musk built a rocket to Mars but forgot to put a door on it, so astronauts had to climb in through the engine nozzle. Something doesn't add up. Today, on Tartaria Archives, we propose a theory that explains this absurdity. These palaces were never meant to be homes, and the fountains were never meant to be decorations. We are a civilization of savages who occupied the empty technological stations of the gods. We sleep in their control rooms, we roast meat on their processors, and we defecate in their ventilation shafts because we simply don't know what these buildings were actually built for. Let's start with water. This is the main paradox. Historians tell us in the 18th century there was no plumbing. Servants carried water in buckets. Okay, then explain Peterhof to me, or the fountains of Versailles. 150 fountains, jets of water shooting 20 meters into the sky. To make water shoot that high, you need massive pressure. Modern fountains use powerful electric pumps, but in Peterhof, there are no pumps. There lies a wooden pipe from the 18th century. Have you ever tried to create 5 atmospheres of pressure in a wooden pipe? It would explode. But the system has been working for 300 years, without electricity, without repairs. Historians say it's just gravity, but look closer. The water systems of these palaces resemble the cooling systems of modern nuclear power plants, cooling towers, heat exchangers. Water in Peterhof and Versailles was likely used to cool the massive machinery located in the basements. When the Romanovs or the Bourbons arrived at these ruins after the catastrophe, they saw the water spraying and thought, oh, pretty fountains, so they put gold statues on top of the industrial pipes. Let's go back to the toilets. We are told that hygiene was lost, but look at the Roman Empire, which supposedly existed 1,000 years earlier. Rome had the Cloaca Maxima, a giant sewer system. Rome had public toilets with running water. Rome had thermal baths with heated floors. So, in the 1st century, humans knew how to build sewers. But in the 18th century, in the Age of Enlightenment, the Age of Newton, they suddenly forgot? Did the architects lose their blueprints? No, the answer is terrifyingly simple. The buildings we call palaces were industrial facilities. Does a transformer box have a toilet inside? Does a hydroelectric dam have a bedroom inside the turbine hall? No, because people don't live there. Machines work there. The Winter Palace, the Louvre, the Capitol, these are technical structures, stations for harvesting atmospheric electricity. Huge halls with 10-meter ceilings are not needed to make a czar feel big. They are needed to house equipment. Huge windows are not for light. They are impossible to heat in winter. They are for ventilation or wave transmission. When the survivors of the global catastrophe, our ancestors, moved into these empty boxes, they faced a problem. They needed to live. There were walls, there was a roof, but there were no toilets, no kitchens, no heating. So, what did they do? They started using chamber pots in the corners. They punched holes through the delicate plaster molding to install crude iron stoves. Have you seen photos of the Winter Palace roof in the 19th century? It is covered in hundreds of ugly, crooked metal chimneys. They look like parasites. Why? Because the building's original heating system, hidden inside the walls, was broken. The new owners couldn't turn it on, so they started burning wood inside a high-tech facility, like cavemen. Look at the giant fireplaces in the Hermitage. They are pristine. There is no soot, because they were never meant for fire. They were niches for ether capacitors or light sources. We found empty niches, didn't understand their purpose, and decided we should probably throw logs in here and set them on fire. We are the natives who built a campfire inside a microwave oven. So, who are we? We are proud of our heritage. We say our great-grandfathers built St. Petersburg on a swamp, but why can't we repeat it? Why, when we need to restore a granite column today, we use concrete and plaster because we lack the technology to cut stone with such precision? The answer hurts our ego. We didn't build any of this. All the antique architecture around the world, from Washington, D.C. to St. Petersburg, is the legacy of a single global civilization, the civilization of Great Tartaria. They had free energy. They controlled water and gravity. They didn't need sewers because their waste processing technology was likely molecular. Then they disappeared, burned in the fires of the 19th century, and we came to the ashes. We put on their jackets, which are too big for us. We settled in their factories and called them palaces, and we turned their temples of science into our toilets. We are savages in palaces, and the first step to recovery is to admit it. Subscribe to Tartaria Archives. In the next video, we will look at the star forts. Were they really fortresses, or was it something much more dangerous? Write in the comments, do you believe the official history of Versailles?